The North. Known for its industry, hard-working and innovative people, we are the engineers of the past and always look for solutions for the future. Our creative North wants to celebrate that and show the world what we can do. Hello and welcome to another episode of our Creative North. This week we send young September up to Morpeth to deal with Cermicist Alex Sickling. And our business of the week is Landscape Architecture's One Associates. But first, let's see how September gets on. So we send another pioneer, which is young September from Newcastle, all the way to Morpeth to meet Alex Sickling, who's a resident pottery artist.
I'm September and I'm here to do some pottery with Alex. When I was a little kid, I used to have one of those like toy pottery makers, and but that's about it. But I've always wanted to do it in a proper place with proper equipment, and I've never had the chance until now. So I'm chuffed.
Hi, you're right. I'm Alex.
Oh, I'm September.
Nice to meet you.
So let's do some pottery, I guess.
Yeah, great. So I've got a dog here that we're going to sort of roughly attempt to make. I'm Alex Sickling and I am a Cermicist and Illustrator. Just want to like sort of roll it out a bit and sort of flatten it out. It's going to be like a little bit narrower at the top and wider at the bottom.
Right.
And then when you've kind of like got the... Yeah, that's great. So we've got the body. The wonkier the better.
At the moment, it would just be a hobby until I got good enough. But if I was a natural at it, then I guess I could consider it as a career. Well, it was a bit different from what I expected because I thought I'd be using one of those pottery wheels, but it was all by hand, which I didn't realise you could do because I thought it wouldn't work as well. But actually, it worked quite well. It was effective. So.
And then with that, like, we just sort of blend it into the top of the head.
Okay.
Again, you just kind of like, you can sort of flat it in a bit more. Just to get like a sort of a rough idea of...
So I'm guessing like the smoother it is, the easier it is to paint? Or?
Yeah, I think it's just like a nicer finish, like the more you sort of like get all the creases out now, the less work there is to do later on. So with the front of the body, to get like the little feet, you use this tool here and just going to kind of like carve out sort of a small amount of clay here. So I'll give it a T there. And then again,
don't want to destroy the
That's great.
There we go.
Perfect. And then you just kind of like with your finger again, smooth it. And kind of like pinch the clay at the bottom and like pull out some like little pores for him.
Yeah, at the moment it doesn't look necessarily like a dog, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Give it a little while and we'll get there. Sort of using like the end of the paintbrush, kind of just sort of make like a little, like where the legs are going to go, and kind of just with my finger roughly carve out a vague shape of like the leg.
Right.
So need that, yeah.
Right.
It's a bit of guesswork.
Can you try and copy yours?
Yeah. Just like where the back leg will go down. It's just like really fine, you don't really notice it so much, but...
Okay.
And then like, because the clay is still quite soft, you can kind of use your finger to mould it in a bit more.
Oh yeah, I see that now.
And then it's kind of like the same on the other side as well.
Right, it's trying to match them up now.
Yeah, it's kind of just like looking on both sides and working it out.
Making dogs out of clay? Well, I never. But I know what they all really look like. No, not that. That's your dirty mind. After all the clay's been moulded, it's on to the painting.
It's your dog. It's great. He needs a name now.
What did you say you called yours?
That was Bertie.
I was going to think of something that rhymes with Bertie, but I don't know. At the moment, it can just be Spot. Spot the dog.
That's a good name. So that's how we make the dog, and then I've got some samples here of that I thought we could paint, so it gives you an idea of how I work with glazes. So it's kind of, have you used watercolours before? Or painted?
On paper, but
Yeah, it's like a similar sort of thing. It's so I've got some water there. And
so what do we do with these ones?
with those,
Pull them out and...
what we do is we wait for them to dry a little bit, so it's easier to hollow them out. I think if they're too wet and you try to hollow them out, they kind of fall apart, and it's not practical. But while we're waiting for those to dry, I thought we could paint these. So it's like an underglaze paint, and it just works like with watercolour. And sort of, we want to get like as similar as that.
Right.
So he's got like a little patch on his back there, and it can be as dark.
So it doesn't go over just in certain places?
Or you can paint it how you like. This is just how I have to paint them for work. But yeah, it's pretty easy to use. As I find underglaze is quite an easy way to like apply detail, and you kind of know what colours you're getting with it. Whereas with other glazes,
so have you painted this white before?
No, when you fire it, it comes out white.
Oh, okay.
Like this. So as you can see, it's like sort of this. It begins like kind of grey, dark material colour, and then when you fire it, it goes like sort of a very bright white.
So what do you prefer, like the moulding or the painting?
I go through phases. I think the painting usually, I think I'm quite impatient, so when it actually comes to making something, I can be quite rushed and impatient with it and just want to kind of get it done.
Yeah, because you'd have to wait for all to dry.
Yeah, it's quite a time-consuming process. So what we're going to do is sort of smooth out the clear glaze. We're going to sieve it. And
do you always have to mix that by hand?
It's good to just kind of mix it up by hand at the beginning because it's just so thick. And it just quickens it all up a little bit. So just pour that out. I'm going to stick the sieve in here like that. And then if you want to pour...
Okay. Pour this...
Yeah, just into there and then...
Okay, I'll probably get this everywhere.
It's alright. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of push it through, sieve like this. And that way any lumps or any any bits of dirt or dust kind of get trapped in the sieve. And then we'll have like a really clear glaze to go on the dogs.
I loved it. It was a new experience because I've never worked in like a professional pottery place before on with good quality clay, and I've never worked with a professional before either, so it was a good experience. She was great actually. She was a really good teacher. She doesn't realise, but she is a good teacher. And she made it really easy to understand, and she could probably teach anyone and make them become professional within a day. So well, it actually makes me want to go out and buy some clay and do it at home now. I don't have a kiln or any of the proper equipment though, but if I did, I'd definitely want to make some things. And Alex was saying about social media and how you can sell it on there, and that would be a great way to make a bit of extra money. At the moment, it would just be a hobby until I got good enough, but if I was a natural at it, then I guess I could consider it as a career.
So it looks like September had a fantastic time with Alex up in Morpeth. Up next, we've got One Associates as our business of the week, but that's all after the break on our Crave North.
And we're back from Creative North. Before we return to Alex Sickling, we've got One Associates as our business of the week, who are a landscape architecture company based up in Newcastle.
I'm James Brewer from One Associates, director of the business. There's three of us all together that started off, been going about 3 years now.
My name's Adam Pigford. My position here is I'm a landscape technician, so I'm involved with all sorts really, do quite a lot of drafting of jobs and graphic design. So I've basically worked here since January.
We're One Associates, we're a firm of landscape architects, which in essence means that we're about improving the quality of the environment that we all live in, whether it's in an urban setting or rural landscape. We're really passionate about improving the quality of life, whether it's a trip to work, whether it's for play, leisure time, creating landscapes from large-scale developments. It might be big housing developments, business parks, it might be town parks, streetscapes, universities, just everything really surrounding buildings we get involved in.
We're a landscape architecture firm, so we do quite a lot of different things, which ranges from quite big schemes to quite small schemes. So we might work on, say, a school playground one day, and then the other day it might be like a hospital, so we'll basically design the landscape around the building.
Originally I wanted to be an architect, so you could say I'm a bit of a frustrated architect, but at the time it was my parents that suggested why not try landscape, and when I looked into it I actually thought this could be really, really interesting, and I've been in industry now for about 20 odd years and I still absolutely love what I do. It's just every day is different.
I got started by doing architecture at university, and I spent 3 years doing that and got a degree. And then when I took my year out, I went and worked for a landscape architecture firm, and then I ended up just staying in that side of things basically.
As there are three directors, we each have, differing roles and responsibilities. We do actually have two businesses as well. We have one business, which is One Associates, which is responsible for the design aspects to it. And we have One Landscapes, which is responsible for the construction. So amongst each of us, we all have different roles in the two businesses. But for me, principally, it's looking at the design studio and managing the design aspects of the projects that we bring in.
My main roles in the company are, I'd say, drafting plans. Someone will hand me a sketch and I'll have to produce it to an accurate scale and make sure everything's measured correctly. We also have to do a lot of presentational materials, so I'll have to produce those. So that can range from anything from large plans to booklets, or just basically showing off what schemes we're working on and things like that, basically. I also do a lot of technical details as well. So say, for instance, we have to design like a stand. I don't know, I think, to be honest, I wouldn't say it's one of the worst, but joining this company it's been quite a strict sort of learning curve, because each firm that I've worked for have different methods of doing things and different styles, and I found that coming here, they have quite a different style to what I was used to, so I found it quite testing to sort of get into the flow of it.
Well, originally I'm from the Midlands, as you can probably tell from my accent. I'm not a native Geordie, even though I've been up here about 20 years. I do love the North East, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be, to be honest. I do find there's a lot the North East can offer. The scale of the place, everything on your doorstep, people, it's just fabulous. I do find people in the North East to be very approachable, very friendly, and I think there is a general desire, if they can support and help each other, they will do. And probably more so maybe than further down south, but to be honest, I've not really had a great deal of experience of that. Ultimately, we're a service industry, people-based industry, and it's about relationships, and if you get on with people, you're more likely to want to work with them. But I do find the people in the North East to be very, very friendly.
So that was our Business of the Week One Association. A big thanks for them for letting the Crave North crew. Now back to Alex Sickling up in Morpeth.
I'm Alex Sickling and I am a Cermicist and Illustrator. I make one-off ceramic pieces for exhibitions and clients and bespoke pieces for like bigger orders. I've been working in the studio here for only a few months, but I've been making ceramics for about 3 to 4 years now. I studied at Leeds College of Art and I was making illustration-based work there and kind of got into ceramics. Then after graduating, I was working a lot, doing exhibitions and collaborating with friends. And then soon after bought a kiln up here in Newcastle and set up in the studio. Now I just continue to make work. Yeah, it's varied a lot, and I think that's what I enjoy most about it. It's not just the same day in, day out. I just enjoy making work. So I was always like drawing and painting when I was younger, and then kind of through that went to like uni and studied a foundation course at Newcastle College, and then I went to Leeds College of Art for 3 years, and since then I've worked part-time jobs and sort of done this on the side, making work, and then since then it's becoming a bit more sort of I'm making like more work since graduating and doing more exhibitions and getting my work out there. So I've got a few big orders sort of appearing in stores in the US, which is quite exciting. And I'm setting up a studio up in Gateshead at the moment, so I'll have my own studio there. And as well as that, I'm appearing in sort of contemporary ceramics book, which will be published by the end of next year, which is good. A lot of opportunities and sort of things like that have sort of come through like my Etsy shop, or sort of just haven't been seen online, which has been like amazing. I think a lot of people tend to go to London because that's sort of seen as the creative hub, and like that's where it's all happening. But the North East has its own sort of creative industry going on, and there's a lot happening up here as well that I think people seem to forget. We're really lucky that we've got so amazing galleries, and sort of like the universities and colleges are like always creating new talent, and I think it's important to sort of stay up here and make work and sell work up here as much as possible, and encourage others. And of course it's home as well. I'm from here, and want to make work up here. I think it depends what sort of work I'm making. I had an exhibition last year, and the work was based on Bensham and Gateshead, and sort of it was like the theme was like the North East. So I think people reacted really well to that and responded well to it and understood it and enjoyed it. Whereas if I'd brought that, like say, London or down south, I don't think I would have had the reaction. People wouldn't have understood it. But generally, a lot of people have given me good, like, positive feedback, and sort of, I have had, like, sales and exhibitions up here, and, like, down in Yorkshire and Leeds. But then I get sort of commissions, like, from as far as, like, Australia and America, and, like, areas of Europe as well, so I think it's quite a universal sort of thing that people like of anywhere can like understand it and appreciate it.
So once again, a big thanks to One Associate, and thank you to Alex Sickling, and well done September for all the work that you've done. That's us again for our Creative North. See you next week.